Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. Welcome to my channel. Yesterday, basically, we had a role reversal. The QQQ, or the technology, started out very hot and was relatively stronger yesterday. So that propelled the markets higher. Financials was weak yesterday. Healthcare took a dip, but tech really was strong and recovered big time from the sell off the previous day. So that helped out the markets. And you got an initial pump in the Nasdaq, and then Nasdaq hit a very key resistance level and kind of just died. Well, the ES or SPY continued to get stronger. Okay, so that's basically what happened yesterday, and you can see in the price action it wasn't great. It wasn't great. It was not an easy day to really look at an opportunity. We'll look at the price action in a little bit just to show you if anybody day trades to see it was not good price action. All right, and we made a trade with Vietnam. That happened also during the day. So that was positive. And basically in ES, we pretty much tagged all-time highs in futures. I'm pretty sure we'll get into that in a little bit. Today, though, the main event will be at 8:30 a.m. You have non-farm payrolls and unemployment, and then at 10 a.m. you have ISM services. Okay, and today we have a shortened session. It is markets closing at 1 p.m. So markets closing at 1 p.m. All right. Without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and buying profile to find structure in the markets along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That's my edge. That's the way I look at markets. I also use Anchor VWAPs and my trusty market internals that show me what's going under the hood once the market opens. Okay. Now, hopefully, you guys join me every day and subscribe, set that alert, and just listen to your boy give you the story of the markets, why the markets are doing what they're doing, leaders and laggards, the market news, the economic calendar, and then following a bunch of technical analysis followed by long and short trade scenarios in the ES and the Nasdaq futures. Okay, now let's get right into it. And let's see, it should be usually a muted market before big data comes out, so let's just look at it together. So leading the pack today so far is silver, up 0.87, followed by the VIX, up 0.78, Russell up 0.72, 30 bonds being bought. The Dow is up 0.12, the dollar is up 0.10, ES up 0.10, Nasdaq's pretty much up 0.09, but they're pretty much flat. Bitcoin's pretty much flat. Gold down 0.10, Ethereum down 0.21, crude down 0.22, and the 10-year yield is down 0.54 before the number. So can the yields continue to fall, which means bonds are being bought, right? Which bonds are being bought. Now, let's move over to the Mag 7 Plus. Okay. Leading the pack is Meta. Meta, I believe, got an upgrade today. Let me just make sure. Let's look at a couple things here. I'm just trying to see here. I'll get into that in a bit, but I think let's just see here. I think it might show it here. No, no. Okay. So we got Meta. We'll get into it. Tesla's up 0.38. They had some decent news. AMD's up 0.2. So this is all muted. Apple's the laggard here, down 0.42. Like I said, there's not much to see here. United Healthcare definitely got sold off yesterday. Some profit taking possibly. You can see they're the leader this morning, up 0.50. But that's not much to talk about. Sectors today, like I said, pretty much muted like I expected. You have semis leading the pack. Now, there is important news that the U.S. got rid of the China export curbs. So that's positive. Financials, like I said, this is all muted prior to FOMC, non-farm payrolls and unemployment. pretty much muted. There's not a lot to talk about there. All right. Now let's just get into the economic calendar here. Some news. Okay. So today we have non-farm payrolls. What are we expecting? 110,000 jobs added, right? Previous 139. Let's see how that comes out. Now unemployment, we're actually expecting a tick up in unemployment, 0.1. See how that works, right? We have initial jobless claims today as well, and ISM services at 10 a.m. So most likely, I have to see how the market shakes out. Remember, today's close is at 1 p.m. So really would like to get into something after this 10 a.m. Otherwise, pretty much like a regular day anyway, right? 1 p.m. I don't like to be trading past anywhere past that. So who knows though? The market might die. I don't know. Really don't know. That's your economic calendar for today. All right, because we'll have a 3-day weekend. Now, let's get into some stock news here. Tesla stock gained 0.1 after the EV manufacturer's second quarter deliveries were meaningful better than feared. Okay, FedEx stock rose 1% after BNP Paribas upgraded stance. TripAdvisor stock rose 6.3 after the Wall Street Journal reported the activist investor Starboard Value has taken stake of more than 9% in the online travel company. Meta, here we go. Stock rose 0.6 after needing an upgraded stance on the tech giant to hold from underperform. BlackRock stock fell 0.1 after Bloomberg reported that the asset manager exploring a potential sale of its stake in Saudi Aramco's natural gas pipeline. Datadog shares gained 9.4% after the software company stock was announced as the newest addition in the S&P 500, replacing Juniper. Synopsys and Cadence Design both rose at 5% after the U.S. lifted export restrictions on semiconductor design software to China. Okay. Alibaba fell 2.7 after the Chinese tech giant announced plans to raise approximately $12 billion. It says 1.53 billion through exchangeable bonds to increase investments in cloud infrastructure. Okay, so they're raising money. Market doesn't like it. All right, now let's look at the some more news here. House Republicans advance Trump's tax bill to cut final vote. As trade war truce with China holds, U.S. lifts curbs for chip design software and ethane. All right, dairy supply management could sour Canada-U.S. trade talks. Bunge completes long-delayed mega merger with grain handler Viterra. Boeing and Justice Department seek judges' approval for deal opposed by crash victims' families. All right, let's see if there's anything else in here that I want to talk about. Nope. Juice doesn't really have much for us today. All right. Let's look at some of those breadth charts. All right, let's look at some of these breadth charts together. All right, so yesterday we were at 84, right around here, percent. We dipped a little bit to 77%. Remember, this is a frothy number still rising. Okay, remember what I said yesterday when tech sell-off happened. Staples and healthcare got love, but healthcare didn't get love yesterday. But I said that could be overall bullish from the markets, and it's looking to be that way. Okay, so just keep in mind these numbers. Okay. Now we can look at, this is the bullish percent index of the NYSE. So that's pretty much unchanged. Let's look at the AAI investor sentiment here. The bullish, 35% are bullish out of the bears. 40% are bearish, so it's pretty much in the middle. Nothing to see there. Okay. Let's look at the Fed Watch tool and see what we're expecting here. All right. So if we go to, what do I want to go to? Probabilities? No. Compare? Yes. Okay. So next Fed is at July 30th. 70. What are we at now? Current 74% expecting a pause. 25% expecting a cut, a quarter point basis rate cut. So let's see how that shapes up after today. This could change after data comes out. Who knows? Who really knows? Okay. Now 10 minutes till data comes out. Let's move on to daily charts. Yesterday was interesting. Actually, we're gonna let's get into the market internals real quick. Okay, let's go to those market internals. Okay. All right, so you can see there was no weakness really the whole day. It just built, 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 built. Okay. Now, this white line I keep saying is equal weight. If you ever want to see this white line, just go to RSP, ticker RSP. That's the equal weight. Okay, that's basically what this is. It's just showing you the overall market without market cap weight. Okay, these bars are based on the weightings that you see up top here. Okay, so the bars are more important. The equal weight line is just more of a gauge of, are they together, overall market together, or is the market cap weights pushing, right? So a couple notables: financials. Berkshire Hathaway really sold off yesterday, right? Communications wasn't that strong. Healthcare was weak, but tech, that's big. That was still strong. Okay, so usually where tech goes, the market goes. All right. And yesterday, just to give you some examples here, this is called Vol D. All right, Vol D is the ratio of buying stocks versus selling. All right, and what this means is there was 2.56 to 1 of volume going into up stocks versus down stocks. That's pretty bullish. Okay, in the Nasdaq exchange, it was 3 to 1. All right, 3 to 1. All right, that's pretty good. Now, if you go to the ADDs, these are pretty benign. Okay, so if I put this and this together with this, that market wasn't going to fall too much. Okay, but look at the price action. Ugh, it's horrible. Really bad price action. Because once you had the initial liftoff, it was like a melt up. It was really not fun to be in there watching it. And I kept on going, okay, if I get a pullback, I'll go long. If I get some kind of failure, I'll go short. And it just wasn't great after the initial pop. Okay. That's your internals breakdown. All right. Now let's get into daily charts. Okay. Let's get into daily charts here. Let's go right here. This is the SPX, but we'll look at the SPY. All right, new all-time highs. But we're kind of in a 3-day balance. Okay, 3-day balance here. All right. Yes, we did take out the previous 2 days highs. Now, we close at 620.45. We are at 621.05. So we're gapping up right now. Prior to data release, which happens in now about 6 minutes. Okay, let's look at futures. All right, there's our futures. There's last month's highs. We're above them, and you can see all-time highs in futures. We made it. Okay, we made it. So all futures in the back adjusted contract is finally at all-time highs. All right. So now there is no really resistance above us at all. All right. Let's look at the Qs. Here's the Qs. Now notice that day of selling, and what did it do? It pretty much it got caught right at last week's highs, and it was failing at the previous day's highs. See that? Previous day's highs had resistance, and it just couldn't break it. Close at 550. We're at 551.31 right now. 551.31. So we are right above yesterday's highs. Let's look at futures. So you can see clear we're starting to have a balance here, right? So if we really have a balance area, you want to look at it here. Really can start like probably here and go to here. Starting a little balance area. Okay. So it's queuing up either for a big move up or more balance. Okay. So this is just building energy. That's all it's doing. Okay. It's building up energy. Last month's highs, last week's highs. All right. So, like I said, we got data coming out. We will have to see what happens. All right. Moving on. Moving on. By the way, that was your daily charts. All right. Now we're going to move on to the triple headed monster just to see what they look like prior to data release. Okay. So let's go to your bond market here, the 10-year yield. 10-year yield rose a little bit, right? This is last week's lows, right? Anchor VWAP, 9 EMA daily. So, like I said, this is just caught in this big mess. So, can it rise back up? Because you do have a nice downtrend here. Can it hit the 200-day and fall back? I don't know. Depending on what happens today, I don't know, right? Dollar's getting beaten, right? Beaten pretty good. Kind of moving sideways now. We'll have to see. Your VIX, your 30 days out, 30 days out, either hedging, 30 days out, fear index, whatever you want to call it. We're just moving sideways in the VIX. 16 VIX is still pretty decent. Okay, still 16 VIX is still pretty decent. All right, that's looking at dailies. Okay, that's looking at the daily charts. One thing maybe I'll show you guys within the next 3 minutes is just some sectors. All right, we'll look at sectors real quick here. Maybe we can illustrate it in the weeklies to show you some of where these sectors are. Okay, so let's look at technology. That's the biggest sector, right? This was all-time high break 243, and you can see we're all-time high is 253. So technology is looking great, right? Now semis are inside of technology, but obviously they're an ETF you want to track. That is right up against all-time highs. 283.07 is all-time highs. Okay, so it hasn't hit all-time highs, but it's right there. Okay, now let's go to the second heavy weighted sector, financials. They just made all-time highs yesterday. See that? This is why this is being resistant a little bit. Okay, big resistance here. All right, let's go to discretionary. That's your third. Look at that. See this weekly right here resistance? It finally broke it and closed above it this week. Right? So these all matter. Okay, these all matter. And then communications. They just recently made all-time highs. See that? And they're getting some profit taking probably, right? So broke all-time highs. And now this week, right? Did it last week. That's a big bar. Okay. And then we'll wrap it up with healthcare. And healthcare has just been weaker. Look at that. Healthcare has been weak. And just to let you guys know real quick, that's the most traded price in the last 5 years. That's where we've been balancing. That's that big level that's been holding it. Okay. And we'll finish it off with industrials, all-time highs. Okay. All-time highs. All right. Let's move on to hourly charts and look at the movement in the ES futures when this data drops. Okay. Let's look at it. Boom. Wow. All right. Market liked something. All right, here. The market liked that. Let's look at the data as it rolls in here. Wow, I don't think people are expecting the non-farm payrolls to beat here. Let's look at it together here. All right, so we added 147. Okay. Oh boy. All right, this is interesting. Okay. So we expected to add 110. We added 147. A lot of times these numbers get revised down, but that doesn't matter. This is what the market derives off of. Okay. Even though these numbers are not good, they're never really accurate, right? This is a beat, but check out the unemployment. It went down. So this is weird. Okay. Why it's weird is because we expected the unemployment to rise zero point 0.1. It went down zero point 0.1. So this is interesting, right? Because unemployment went down. Now ask yourself, why would the Fed want to cut rates if the unemployment is going down? Now I could be wrong, right? Market's liking this right now. Let's look at the Fed Watch tool and see what's the price in. Remember, it was 75% of a pause. Okay, so let's look at it and see what's transpired from these numbers. This was what it was before. 74 and a 25% chance of a cut. Let's look at it now. Let's refresh it. Let's go to compare, I think. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't update that quickly. Unemployment went down. Wow. Okay. Going back to the hourly charts. Market is liking it. They're liking the add addition of jobs, and the unemployment went down. Okay. So we're breaking out. This is no longer a supply. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so all-time highs in the ES. All right, let's go to the Qs. Did the Qs break the highs here? Let's look at that together. No. So that's last month's highs right there. And the Qs have not been able to break that with this news. Interesting, right? So it's just, like I said, very mixed about those numbers just because of the unemployment went down, right? And I believe Jerome Powell was talking and he was saying, they're tracking unemployment. Unemployment rises. That's when Fed would start to possibly make cuts with the. Now they added more jobs, and unemployment went down when they were expecting it to go up. Right. So very interesting. Right. Very interesting. Couple things to note here. All right. If we do some analysis here, let's go back to ES. Okay. And you can just see here, let's do a little volume profile here. Really from this area. Let's just see here. And you can see why I have the levels on my chart, right? That purple box is always the most traded price of the week, right? You can just see it right here, all the volume, right? And what did we do yesterday? We pulled back, couldn't hold below that level, and then ripped up, and now look what we're doing. So all this balance, right? Whoever was short, remember, Shorts were in, we closed around here yesterday. These shorts weren't really punished yet. Now look, we're gapping up, and all these shorts are in trouble. Okay, so we have no resistance at all above us. All right. Now, if we look at the Nasdaq futures, we'll put a volume profile on it. And now that has hit. That has broken the all-time highs. Okay, and we'll do the same. Oop, sorry here. Let me fix that. Okay, we'll do the same here. The volume profile. Okay, and we could even go from this day, and you'll see my levels. There's my box for the most traded price that you can see all the volume that transpired there, right? From this point in time, this is the volume, right? So this was the most traded price. You can see, all right, this is why I stick by how I look at the market, right? Because this was the important level. Now look, this little black area is yesterday's session. The gray, the highlighted section is overnight activity, right? So look at the trouble it had with this level. It could not just stay over it. It just stuck. That's why I say most traded prices are like walls, or like magnets, but eventually you break away. You break away, right? So look what the Nasdaq did. This is that sell-off I said, came back up, double bottom basically, and then just ripped right back to here, and then tried to hold on, came up, pulled back, and then boom, news catalyst. We have to see what really happens here, right? Let's get rid of this supply zone. That is no longer. There is no resistance above us in the Nasdaq. Okay, if we want to take this a step further, let's just move on the double bottom here. Boop. The volume is still here. See how much volume trades there? All right, we can just go from the bottom of this move. Let's see. Still, the most volume is traded at that price. Okay, so that's how important that price was. Okay. We could even crunch it further and just go from here, right there. Boop. Just the sheer amount of volume at this price, right? Now you're going away from it. So whoever short and longs in here now are in pain. So let's just see how that works, right? Are we going to top here and then fall? I don't know, right? So that's your 1 hour charts. All right, give me a sec while I change my workspace. And we'll look at this in a different light. Okay. One thing I'll check in on. Wow. Okay. So one thing I want to check in on is, what are we looking now? Okay. Look who's the leader here. The 10-year yield. That means bonds are being sold after this numbers. Interesting. Bonds are being sold, right? So Russell's up 1%, dollar's up, dollar's liking this. Nasdaq's up 0.27, ES up 0.21, the Dow's up 0.17. Crude is flat. Silver was up, now it's flat. 30-year bonds being sold, Bitcoin down, gold down, right? So gold, if unemployment falls down, I would think if you had hot unemployment, gold would be higher. Ethereum down, the VIX is down. So that's what's going on right now. Like I said, very weird. Unemployment went down, right? So that's a little like, I don't know how to deal with that, right? The market will tell us. That's the important part. The market will tell us. Now, if we're going to look at our market profile and volume profile, right, our analysis here, if we're going to look at it, all right, first thing I want to do is look at this profile, this weekly profile, composite profile on the side here. To me, this has got some excess here. You got value down here and a little excess here. That's actually a bearish imbalance. Now, I understand this doesn't always tell you, but generally a complete auction would look like that. Okay, I'm not saying we got downside now. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's the profile, how it looks. And right now we're running out of volume, right? Now, of course, the most traded price of the week is 62.44 right here. What the market needs to do is have price pull value up here in order to get a move to go higher. Okay, if that can't happen, what happens is this price returns back to value. It's like a rubber band, stretch, snap back, right? And that's why I use these tools, because it gives me a game plan, right? So I know the most traded price of the week's here. If it moves up here, that gives me more confidence to lean on it to go long. If we go under it, it gives me more confidence to go. See what I'm saying? That's why I use these levels. It gives me a plan, a roadmap. And that's why I like to share it with you. Again, it gives me a roadmap. So anything that gives you a plan is powerful, right? Like you can lean on it. Like, and that could be your, whatever you use, MACD, RSI, whatever it is that makes you confident or have confirmation or something, gives you a roadmap. That's very important. Okay. Now, let's look at what's going on. Okay. This was yesterday, which was garbage. Right. So that price action is just garbage. That's 30-minute bars. Okay. Pushed down, held the most traded price of the week, and look where it went. Last week's highs. That was the support, and then pushed up, right? So we know that. Okay. Now, let's get into this. We are gapping up. So what's our first level here? Is our gap fill, 62.76.50. That's the gap fill. Now, that encompasses the most traded price of yesterday. That encompasses the close. And we're going to put this in here too. The demand zone here. Now, there's going to be another demand here. Okay. Let's look at the price action. This is all going to be a demand zone right here. Okay. So, overnight highs are 62.96. Now, I'm just going to highlight the overnight high like this. There is no overhead supply. There is no resistance here. So, quick tip. Overnight highs are usually not secure all-time highs at overnight. RTH usually always takes them out. You will not get a high at the overnight high. So 62.96 is not secure, really. I believe that should get taken out. Okay? So I got that on the map. Okay? So you got a demand here, and we have a pretty large demand zone here, which encompasses the most traded price of the week right here and last week's highs. Okay? We still have our 62.27 support and demand down here. Now this should be a very interesting session. Okay? Shortened day. All right? So let's get right into scenarios here. Something really has to go awry for me to be like, ooh, I'm loving shorts. Okay. Now, we're going to start off with the bull side. Okay. So, what would I like to see if I'm bullish, right? Well, let's see, the market comes in, rips up, maybe even tags this overnight highs. Then we get some profit taking and we come right back into gap fill and to the most traded price of yesterday. Even if we dip our toe into this demand, hold, higher, higher, low, and then we can melt our way back up to all-time highs. Okay, I'll just go deeper into this. You can also go higher. Okay, it's probably my best scenarios for the pullback. Right? Something I wouldn't be crazy about, but it could happen. You could gap and go, take this out, hold, 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 and also go higher. I wouldn't be a fan of that as much, but it's possible. But it's possible. That's kind of what I would be interested in. Because if we take out the overnight lows here, 62.71, right? Let's say we take these out and we start to go down back into this range. Probably not going to be looking for longs too much. We could just find ourselves falling a little bit. So I'll leave that out because that's not like I said, I'm really interested in something like this. Now, let's go to the bear side. Bear side here, right, is lots got to happen, okay? This is very hard to put a bearish scenario in here, but I'm going to do it. Okay, let's say we pull back. Boom, you get the buyers involved. You take out these highs. I would need to see some lower highs in 30-minute closes, lower highs, and maybe you get this move down here. Okay, now if we do take out this overnight low, we're probably going to come down and test this demand. Like I said, this is not something that I'm like ooh, right? Because there's so much demand here. You got month to day view up, week to day view up down here, your most traded price. So you could definitely would have to work yourself down into this. Okay. Now if you did, be honest, if you take that out, we're gonna visit 62.27. Like I said though, I'm not a fan of a short right now at all. But if the market is showing me something, I'll be involved. Okay, so that's the scenarios that I see for the ES. Let's go to NASDAQ. Remember, NASDAQ's a little different because it was weak, right? It was weak, and then it bounced back. Okay, it was weak, then it bounced back. So let's look at our profile here. So you have value here at that large price that I talked about, that 228.30, right? We got value here, and then we got the rest of that move lower. Kind of balanced, right? So we did come up to this high, right? So let's break this out here. That's our price action, okay, for the overnight activity. You can see there's demand in here. So right in here, probably a demand zone. That encompasses the most traded price of the week yesterday, the close, right? Yesterday's highs, which is gap fill. All right. Now, this area here, you can see there was a real-time trading hours, real-time trading hours high here, 22934, 22937 is where we just went up and found resistance. So we do have an area to lean on here. That could be a breakout opportunity above that level. Okay. Now, this is where the Nasdaq's a little different. Okay. The 22830 is a very big, it also is last week's highs. So you can see the support here. Bulls need to defend this in the Nasdaq. You can't lose this. Okay? You can't. Reason why is you have poor structure below. You have very thin volume here. Okay? That's where introduce Elfie, elephant on a toothpick. Okay? What does that represent? And I'll make the elephant blue. All right, so picture this as the elephant. All right, here's his ear and trunk. Okay, and so here's the stick. the toothpick holding up that elephant. Okay. So if this elephant breaks this toothpick, this is the toothpick, and it struggles to hold it, this can rip down very quickly. Now, the other side to that, if there's support in here, that is bullish. So it goes both ways. But it's a good way to gauge. Okay. So let's get rid of the elephant. Okay. Go back to the white, and we'll continue our levels. This is the midpoint of yesterday with single prints. I'm going to mark that off. You also have in this level the month to date anchored VWAP right there and the week to date VWAP right here. Okay, so this would be not good if you're here, but if you get a quick bounce here, that could definitely work. You got single prints here as well. Okay, that's yesterday's lows, and now you have this big support level here, that 226, with this demand. Still got to bring that in the picture here, so you can see that the 22830, write it down, is a monster. When I mean monster, monster. Okay, level. Let's get into it. Let's get into scenarios. Okay. Can't stress how important that level is. All right. We're going to start off with bull. Bull side, bull side. All right. So, price is here, right? We know we just came up, got a pretty balanced profile in the overnight. Okay. You actually have a poor low, which is like multiple touches equal. Okay. So, this is very poor, meaning that it needs to break. It needs to get corrected. Now, it could be that you just break here and you rip up. Now, let's get into the bullish side. Okay. Let's say we push up, tap that overnight high, comes roaring back down to test the monster level. Gap fill, member, is right here, 22858. Okay. So you could just tap and run. But what if we pull back deeper, right? And this is where a bear trap could happen. Because this could go right here, recover, and then you're off to the races. This could go into the single prints in the 50% retracement of yesterday's move, but it needs to be quick. Recover, and you're off to the races. Below this, no good. That's all I'm looking for. And the market can't be weak while I'm looking to take these pullback longs. It's got to be kind of in parity. The internal's got to show me not a lot of weakness. Okay. That's all I'm interested in is for longs. Okay. As far as the bear side, right? We know we have resistance up here, right? We know we do. Now, what I'd be looking for is, again, a break at that level and then fail. Lower high, come back, test the 22830, boom, break it. Now you're going to test in here. You're going to test that month to date anchored VWAP. Remember, this could bounce, but if I'm looking bearish, this can get cleaned up and you find yourself at that 226 and break that, and you can really fall. Now, there's a lot of momentum to the upside right now. I'm not saying this happens, but this could happen, a break of this level, a break of the 50% retracement in this weak structure. Okay, remember what I said about the elephant on the toothpick, right? Remember what I said. The market has to be weak to take it out, but if it takes it and it's weak, this is a hot knife through butter. Soup. I don't know if that was a sound through hot knife butter. Like, cut it real easy, okay? I need to have a sound effect for that. All right? It could really fall apart. But this level has to be taken out. 22830. Write that down. All right? Now, what could be a harder trade is you break this and you have to find acceptance like this to take it out. Okay? That could also happen. Now, that is the scenarios, okay? That is the scenarios for today. Hopefully, you enjoyed that. Smash the like button if you did. Documents. Documents. I don't know when you wrote that. Is he back? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I am not sure. Hopefully you in that Discord today. Oh, you like that hot knife through butter. I knew you'd like that. All right. No. All right. So I can hear you. I can hear you and I can see those tears. All right. In my head. Now, next week. Now, we have a plan, right? Pretty good. That 22830 level and the Nasdaq's pretty strong. Okay? Pretty strong. All right. Now, now, we have the plan, like I said. Documents throwing me off here. All right. So, if you want to join me later, right? Come to the Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Okay. Go to YouTube homepage. Sign up. Join. You'll see my commentary in the markets. Okay. If you want to see what that looks like, I'll show you right now. Boom. So here it is. This is all from yesterday. Giving golden nuggets here all day. Giving you my charts. Right? Telling you all the levels. Look, I was pointing out that NASDAQ level. Right there. That's still the level. Okay, that's still the level. All right. And that's what you'll get all day. All right. So hopefully you can join up. Sign up. That would be amazing. Okay. Now, if you want to get me every morning, please subscribe, set an alert. Do this every morning. Right? Come join. Come join. I give you the story of the markets, why it's doing what it's doing. All right? Why it's doing what it's doing. The news, economic calendar, and a lot of TA, a lot of technical analysis. Okay? All right? So sign up. Come join the Discord. And if I don't see you in the Discord today, have a great 3-day weekend. Remember, markets close today at 1 p.m. We're closed tomorrow. Markets are closed tomorrow. And then we pick back up Monday. You're welcome. Documents. All right. Everybody, have a great weekend. And like I said, I'll see you in Discord or I'll see you next on Monday. All right.